If you have debt in collections that you want to settle and be done with forever, this is the process that I have walked several of my clients through, and they have been successful. Don't forget that I can't know every nuance of your situation or your relationship with your credit card lender. I am simply explaining the process that I walk my clients through. You are solely responsible for your outcome. The very first thing that I have my clients do is take a look at the balance that is in collections and verify that this is the correct amount that they owe and that the person calling them, the agency, is not in any way a scam. This might take some time to verify the details of the debt that's in collections as well as the collection agency itself. Once you verify that the debt is correct, you're going to need to save up 50% of that balance, and I usually have my clients start negotiations there. Also, make sure you watch all the way to the end of today's video to find out what happens to your taxes when you settle debt in collections. Once the collection agency starts calling you, know your rights. These are very plainly laid out in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Some rights will vary by state, so make sure that you check yours. There are 3 big restrictions on collection agencies when they are calling you about the debt. Number 1 is time and place. Debt collectors may not contact you before 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m., and they also may not contact you at your workplace. Restriction number 2 is harassment. They may not harass or threaten you in any way. I know that this one is kind of vague and open-ended, but if you feel harassed, let them know that you know about the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and that they are making you feel harassed. And number 3 is representation by an attorney. If an attorney is representing you, the collection agency may not contact you. They are to contact the attorney instead. When a debt collection agency starts contacting you, the absolute worst thing that you can do is ignore their calls. And I know that this sounds counterintuitive, but when you ignore them, it actually gives them more power and more control over the situation. We don't want them to be in control. You are. So here's how we confront this head on instead. Whenever you answer the phone, you are to set a schedule with them of when you will be allowing their calls. It will go something like this. Make sure you have a Word document open so that you can take notes and note who you are talking with and what is said every single time you have a conversation with them. You want to start out by answering their phone calls and explaining your situation. If you had to choose between paying your mortgage and paying the credit card, let them know that, but do not lie. This is usually where I have my clients let them know that they're working with a financial coach to get back in good financial standing, and the collection agency usually takes that very well. As weird as it may sound, you want to build trust between you and the collection agency. Chances are you are watching this video and you are not subscribed to my channel because only 23% of the people that view my videos are subscribed. It would mean so much to me if you hit the subscribe button and support me as I continue to make videos. Thank you so much for subscribing and supporting me as I create content. The key here is to remember that their number 1 objective is to get paid. If you ignore them, if you don't answer the phone, if you don't communicate with them at all, they will become even more frantic. They will call you more. They will annoy you more. They'll trash your credit score. They won't work with you. But if you answer the phone, you follow through, and you build trust, it will be a much easier process for you, and their chances of it not affecting your credit score will improve. After you explain your situation, you want to explain your plan for settling the debt. If you have 50% of the balance available, you can offer that to them. If you don't yet have 50% of the total balance saved up yet, that's okay. Just let them know that you're saving up and you want to settle the debt in full. Do not tell them how much you already have saved, and personally, I wouldn't agree. 2 payments is just easier to get taken advantage of that way. And this is a big place where people get burnt. Do not, I cannot stress this enough, do not give them access to your money. If you tell them that you do have 50% of the total balance and you want to negotiate and pay off the debt in full, they might laugh in your face, and that's okay. The money is still yours and they will get nothing. Let them know that you will talk to them again at a time and day next week, and between now and then, they do not need to be contacting you or calling you at all. You will not be talking to them or answering the phone between now and then. At the set day and time for the call, you need to follow through and talk to them. Even if there is no update, that's okay. Still make contact, don't ghost them, and that helps keep them in the loop and build that trust like I talked about earlier. So to summarize, at this weekly call, you're basically just giving them an update of your financial situation, no specific numbers or savings or anything like that, or you are offering them 50% of the original balance. That's pretty much it. It's a very quick phone call. You will repeat this process each week until you can both agree upon an amount to settle the debt in full. Maybe it's 50% of the original balance, or maybe you get tired of the weekly calls and you have more to offer. But remember, they are going to get very tired of these weekly calls as well. When they give you a verbal agreement of the settlement amount, don't give them any money. Don't give them access to your bank account until you get everything in writing. Remember, until you get that entire agreement in writing, the original balance still stands. I've heard horror stories of people that got a verbal agreement on a settlement amount. They sent them the money, and all it did was pay down the balance. It did not settle the debt in full. Can you imagine doing all of this work for nothing, basically? Don't be that horror story. Make sure you get the settlement in full in writing. After you get the document that says this amount is going to settle the debt in full, don't give them access to your personal bank account. And maybe I'm paranoid at this point, but all of my clients that I've walked through this process with, none of them have gotten screwed over. So I just like to play it safe. What you're going to do is open up a completely separate checking account. This is free to do, and you're going to transfer the settlement amount into that account. Before they take the money, this is when I would ask them when this is going to be reflected on your credit score. You can ask for a goodwill deletion from the collection agency or your original creditor, but keep in mind they don't necessarily have to give it to you, but all the steps that you've taken, this has put you in a really good position for it not to damage your credit score so heavily. Last thing, and this is important because it has to do with the tax side of settling the debt. If you successfully settle the debt, you will receive a 1099 for the forgiven portion, and you will have to pay tax on that as if it were income. This is also true of things like student loan forgiveness, and this can really mess you up if you're not prepared, and then you have to pay all this extra tax and possibly go into debt for that. So definitely make note of this, take it to your accountant early so that you can be prepared at tax time. What a process, right? I know it's long and it kind of sounds draining, but it's been a really good option for my clients that are teetering with bankruptcy or that are making good money, but they just can't keep up with the credit card payments. If you've dealt with collections before and have learned anything that wasn't mentioned in this video, comment below.